Hi, and welcome to If These Heels Could Talk. I'm JoyGenea with Solutions by JoyGenea.
And I'm Michelle with Bad Cat Digital. And as we were discussing right before you turn it on, this is as good as it gets.
Oh, yeah. This is all we got.
What we've got. So, both.
But don't run away. Don't run away.
No, don't leave.
A great topic.
This is good. This is a great topic, and we're both really excited about it. But both of us are kind of in a mood. So it's going to be a good day.
I think it's going to be a good topic.
I think it's going to be a good topic.
Perfect topic.
It's a good topic for the mood. So today what we're talking about, this actually started with a conversation about the outdoors. So do you want to explain
I'm headed off camping this weekend. This perfect example. Again. It's in the summer in Minnesota. So quick, you like suck it all in as fast as you can. I do. See, there we go. I do. And it's funny, but because those are my people. I tend to hang
the camping
around
people.
Right. Well, the outdoorsy-ish people. So
the granola people.
No, I'm not that far.
Okay. Yeah. That's true.
I'm not
That's true.
I'm mid granola.
You still wear name brand deodorant?
Yeah. Like I'm mid granola. I have an RV that uses a lot of gas. I'm still mid granola. But I did grow up on the Iron Range. I did spend a lot of time in the out of doors. So I'm I like to be outside. That's calming. Here's the important part. Going for a walk outside and stuff is calming. So I don't remember you were having a stressful day or something. And I said, maybe you just need to go for a walk outside. Oh, we were talking about different people. That's what it was.
Yes, we were talking about different people.
And you pointed out that a particular person in your life is not an outdoor person.
Right.
And I heard outdoors person. I translated it and I was like, oh, they just don't like to go camping. And you clarified for me. You're like, no. And you were explaining like, no, not wanting to be out of doors, period. The outside, the sun, the whole combo.
The whole thing.
And it's not that I didn't know that was possible. We just never had that conversation. And you went, I'm the same.
Yeah.
Went, you're right. I know that about you, but I hadn't.
So the thing to recognize here in this moment is that as a good faith effort, JoyGenea was trying to help, and she was suggesting something that to her is incredibly centering, calming, inspiring. It recharges her. But that's not the same for everybody. And there are these things that are considered like universal things that are just not universal experiences. A lot of people get that kind of experience from being out of doors. They find a peace. They find a connectedness from being out of doors. A lot of people do.
Could we almost say that it's like an outdoors bias?
I
considering how I reacted when you told me and how you hadn't told me we hadn't had an in-depth conversation about it.
It's one of those things
like,
that
feels like there's an undertone there. Like
people who don't understand that doesn't exist for everybody. Yeah. And so it's this concept of, no, I don't like being outside. There's dirt and sand and bugs. And if I get a bug bite, just one mosquito bite on my ankle, I lose sleep for 5 days. Like
that's not worth it.
It's a huge imposition in my life. I get really sweaty really fast when it's hot. I get really cold really fast when it's cold. Ew. I can't breathe right. Like, I don't like being outside. I like climate control. But I just do. I like bought air instead of fresh air. And I, at some point, even the language around it is very judgmental.
I agree. Like now that you've educated.
So even just to say bought air instead of fresh air, like that's what my mom always said. She's always said, why don't you go outside and get some fresh air? There's all this bought air inside that you're recycling. And it's like, from outside, it's coming in from outside and getting cooled down to a point that it's like comfortable. And then when I breathe out, it goes back, guess where? Outside. And so
so cute.
So the fresh air comes in through filters, and this is a problem. Like, I don't understand. So the whole concept, right, of just of going camping, of being out of doors, of finding peace and centeredness there, it just completely disconnects. And I'm not the only person.
No.
And so for those of us, I mean, it is like eye-rollingly like, okay, fine, you go hug a tree and I'll, sit in here and read my book.
Well, and as we're talking right now, I'm thinking, I hope by the end of this podcast, because we'll mingle and
yeah.
But I'm hoping by the end of this podcast that we can, those of us that are maybe a little more outdoorsy acclimated or find enjoyment in that, can be more open-minded about the possibility not everybody feels this way. Yeah. And to be more open and inclusive about conversations and engagement in that. And like one of the things that comes to mind for me right away is just speaking in terms of when I'm stressed like that, I like to go outdoors. Maybe that would be beneficial and you would feel comfortable. The other person would feel comfortable. Yeah. Oh my God, you're just saying that like hives. Like I think they popped up on my back. I'd be like, oh, that's not your thing.
That's not your thing.
Do you like to do?
What centers you?
Yeah, what centers you?
What connects you back to yourself? Where do you find, I always think about it as where do you find that flow? I don't know. Did you ever see Pixar had a movie that I think was very underrated that came out a couple of years ago called Soul? Did you see this movie?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
It's really, really good. I really enjoyed it, but it's very adult, and I think it struggled to find an audience, but it's very large concept, and it came out during the pancake breakfast, and so but it's very conceptualized. Anyway, there's this concept of souls finding their flow. And when they flow, they're in the middle of doing something that they love so much that they lose track of time. Now, separate from our time blindness conversation, different thing,
slightly related, but different.
I mean, I can sit and sew for 17 hours and not know the difference until I go to stand up and realize I haven't eaten or peed in like a day.
And your legs are like, oh.
And your legs are like, what's happening? And you're like, that's awesome. I can do that. And it's because that's where I find my flow. But that happens indoors.
In climate control.
Right. And
that's beautiful.
But just petting and playing with fabric and moving things around, and like I find this beauty in this in the colors and the patterns and a lot of which are based in nature. But I'm very comfortable when I'm doing it, and I think it's really hard to find that flow when you're actively uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, I think,
right? Like if your chair's wrong, or if there's an annoying noise outside, or.
So how do we make it more, like, how can we encourage people to be more comfortable helping other people understand that they might have a bias towards something? And this is something where we're having a conversation about something that's not loaded.
Right. This is not,
right. Because we've had, there's conversations about diversity, inclusive, all of that.
Yeah.
Those tend to get a little more loaded. There's more emotion to it. I feel like having a conversation about you and me enjoying the outdoors and you not enjoing that.
Yeah.
Like no zen in that for you at all. Like I think having a conversation about that and how to be a little more kind.
Well, I think it's one of those. I think it's part of a larger conversation about passive aggression and direct communication and accepting that other people have different lived experiences than we do, and other people have different lives than we do, and other people have different preferences than we do, and that there's nothing wrong or odd or strange about that. I think that I read a thing this week. Somebody sent me something that said, to those who are used to passive indirect communication, clear direct communication looks like aggression.
Yes.
And it feels like aggression.
Yes.
And so for those of us who prefer clear direct communication, but have been conditioned through our lives not to use it because it makes other people uncomfortable, it can be really, really difficult to translate without feeling like you're manipulating something, or you have to
put a lot of thought into it.
You put a lot of thought into it.
Some mental gymnastics that go on before you choose the word.
Before you choose the word to move forward. And because I don't want to hurt. I'm not out to hurt anybody's feelings, but like, I'll give you an example. So I don't go to church. This is another way that I'm very different from a lot of people in central Minnesota. Not everybody, but a lot of people in central Minnesota. And this is a bit loaded.
I would say the ratios are grossly larger in one end over the
right.
Fair.
But there's people who just don't go to church this week, but will go on Easter and Christmas. And then there's people like me who actively avoid church. Like it's just not my thing. Not my bag.
Not your thing.
Not my thing. So I was at a business networking event, which in central Minnesota does often include people who run churches, which was a strange thing to me when I moved here. But okay, fine, whatever. And so I met a wonderful human who had a church, and he ran a church, and it was it was held in a place that I enjoyed going for other reasons. Yeah. And I said something about, well, thanks for having services so that I can go to this place on the weekends I wouldn't normally be able to go to. And he said, well, you should stop by and listen to, and I was like, no, thanks though. And he said it more than once. Yeah. And I wasn't rude. I wasn't mean. Yeah. I wasn't any of those things. I wasn't actively, openly dismissing or rejecting him or his faith or challenging him or his faith in any way. You were just being honest. I was just being honest about my preference. I don't want to go to church, even if there's donuts. So, which was like the third thing. And finally, I just had to say,
sprinkle donut?
No, I'm not interested. Thank you. And he was incredibly offended. And I was like, if you had just accepted the no the first time I said it,
could have been.
If you had just accepted the no when I brushed it off and made a joke about it to deflect it so that it wouldn't hurt your feelings, if you had just heard and accepted the no the first time, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure from his perspective, if I had just opened my mind and come to the church and said I would go, because the script is this. This is the script.
Yes.
I would love to get together with you.
Oh, yeah. We should do that sometime. That would be fun.
Oh, yeah. We should do that sometime. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Well, right? I'll email you.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
That's the script.
Yeah.
And then nothing happens.
Yeah. Nobody emails.
Nobody texts. Nobody calls. I ran into you, and then we do it again in 8 months when we run into each other.
Oh, my God. Did we ever get it?
We never did. We should get a drink.
Oh, we should.
Or coffee. We could do coffee. Yeah. That'd be great. Text me. Yeah.
There's one. Try not being a coffee drinker.
Yeah. There you go.
I run into that. People are like, let's catch coffee. I'm like, great. And then we get there and they're like, what can I get you? I'm like, well, I actually don't and can't have anything on this menu. But I'm like,
yeah, I'll have hot water with lemon.
Yep. I'm like, and that's okay. But it's interesting how uncomfortable other people
get. And because it feels as though we're being judged in that moment for wanting something that has 800 calories an ounce. Well, you get hot water and lemon.
You know who taught me? The beauty of having people in my life in the past, anyways, that have had addictions,
right,
is they have taught me, because not being a participant in alcohol, I make people uncomfortable.
Right.
I actively
We've talked about this before, where you'll get like a club soda with lime
just to make them feel better,
just to make other people comfortable at a networking event. That
experience really helped me. Literally, I'm at a place and age in my life where I'll just like put my hand on somebody and be like, oh, we're just going to be uncomfortable for a little bit, but you'll be okay. We'll work through it.
Yeah.
Like the thing with the pastor, I would have just said that, listen, I know this feels uncomfortable for you because most people aren't this honest, but I'm really not big on the like lie to you thing. So I'm just going to like, I'm not.
So I'm just going to say no.
Right. And you're going to feel a little uncomfortable and it'll pass.
And then it'll pass. And then we won't do this thing for 8 months where I see you every 3 weeks and you invite me and I say yes, and then come up with some BS excuse. And we just can avoid all of that. Right. So let's just live in this moment together.
Exactly. And it's okay.
And I love this. And so to me, this is part of a larger thing about honesty and a larger thing about owning our own feelings. The first time that we went like to my favorite coffee shop, I knew that you didn't drink coffee and I wasn't expecting you to drink some sort of like
anything
latte. Yeah. But I kind of thought, oh, well, they have tea, they have this, they have that. And so the person who chose the location, to watch you order water with lemon made me feel like I had chosen something that you were rejecting.
Yeah.
Which then made me feel like I was failing as a friend, failing as this, failing as that. And we talked about it in the moment. Mm-hmm. Everything was fine. Everything was different and it changed. And now I'm just like, well, enjoy sucking on your lemon. Yeah. So like, exactly. Whatever.
Like, I'm gonna.
Yeah. And I have released those feelings of inadequacy.
Good.
around what you order to drink. And that's the difference. We have to be able to own our own stuff. And I think that this is one of those scenarios or situations where we have a blind spot, whether it's outside or something ubiquitous, right? Like going out for a drink. People who are alcoholics in recovery, or even people who have family members who are alcoholics, or just people who choose not to drink.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it.
From alcohol.
But okay, but that creates, there's so many social events and social gatherings that are built around alcohol. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really difficult for people
just because I show
to navigate.
Well, and just because I show up, I'm not judging. Like,
right. You're there.
I guess what I'm fascinated, or what I don't think other people maybe understand, is I know exactly when I'm meeting somebody at a coffee house, what I'm going to.
Right. And you know exactly what's happening when you attend an event at a bar.
Right. And I don't.
Because you're an adult.
Right. And I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
if you cared, you would say,
I can't.
Can we go somewhere else?
Right. Like, I would do something different, but
this is
where else would I want to meet you?
This is interesting. There's an inherent trust level and an inherent level of trust that you will own your own stuff.
Yeah. Which is challenging.
Because a lot of us don't own our own stuff.
Yes.
So we assume then that nobody else is going to either.
Mm-hmm. And we project.
We
just wind up projecting our gunk and their gunk. And
all of a sudden, there's all kinds of weird feelings that pass through people in an instant of eye connection that doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. And all that had to happen was, all you had to say was, no, I'm not going on a walk. I'm not going outside.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not getting boob sweat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get eaten up by bugs. I'm going to find a different way, but thank you for the suggestion of something that helps you center. I do need to do something that centers me.
I heard that part of the
I hear that part.
Like,
I can take the part that matters instead of picking at the part that doesn't.
There is a great person in my life that when we're together at some function, let's say a wedding, right?
Sure.
And everybody's having libations and having a great time, which is good. She is the most uncomfortable. And we actually have the better conversation. She'll be like, let's just walk up and get you. And I'm like, I love that we play this game. I said, and last time I saw it, I'm like, I love that we play this game. I said, but we can do this forever. Because I said, I'm super comfortable where I'm at. I said, you're going to be okay if I have water.
Yeah.
And she just looked at me and I said, because this is about you thinking I'm judging you. And I'm not.
Right.
I like you.
Right.
Libated, unlibated. I'm like, I think you're fun.
Yeah.
I said, don't change anything about you.
Right.
But I said, how about you love me where I'm at?
Right.
And she just looked at me and she wasn't too libated. So it was a good conversation. And she was like, oh. I said, it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay. And but it was, like, I just laid it. I'm like, we're okay. Like this. Yeah. And I said, if we need to do this dance every time, I'm like, I'm so used to it now. I'm like, it makes me smile. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, no, I might stop doing it. I'm like, no, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was just like, we can do this.
There's an entire industry cropping up around people who don't drink. So there's spirits. There's spirits that are being created that are non-alcoholic so that you can create that experience of a mixed drink in a bar, in a restaurant, without having any alcohol and without ordering a freaking Shirley Temple and feeling like a child. Mm-hmm. You can get what tastes like and what amounts to really beautifully mixed beverages that have no alcohol in them, but taste like a gin and tonic, taste like a mule, taste like, without the harsh bite of alcohol that a lot of people don't like, and without. Yeah. But this is my point though, because on one hand that's awesome.
Right.
On the other hand, we had to create a whole industry. We had to create a whole industry around people who choose not to drink because it's such a centralized part of our social life.
It is. It's just an intricate part, just like religion around.
Yes, just like religion is an intricate part of so many people's lives that when you actually meet an atheist who's actually committed to atheism and doesn't care about any sort of, and respects people, but is like, you do you and have some fun. when you actually meet that person, it's like,
huh?
What? Like, how do you live? What? Like,
did you do enough research on that? Like, that's what people are.
It was readily available. I've been to church before. Have you ever been to church? Yes. Several.
Yes. I've kind of seen people's faces. I have. Yeah. And I can feel, like, I swear I can read what they're saying. And I'm like, say it. I dare you.
What's so amazing to me.
Double dog dare you.
So my best friend is active churchgoer.
Yes.
And love her so much. And we have amazing conversations.
Her faith is intricate.
Her faith is integral to her, integral to her marriage, her life, her
absolutely.
And her personality. Like, she grew up in a church and So she and I have this conversation and
well, how would you not?
And she says, I honestly, it didn't occur to me that somebody who is generous and, gives to community things and believes in, justice and equality in the world. And I thought that came from this religious tradition. It didn't occur to me that somebody without the religious tradition would be able to have that or would access that.
You're expanding.
And I think, this is the point though. When we're honest about our preferences, our opinions, what we want and what we don't want, and when we deal with our own stuff about other people's preferences and opinions, we broaden each other's world. It never occurred to you that people wouldn't find solace in the outdoors because you do. Your friends do.
Right.
Your family does.
Right.
It was a huge part of the culture when you were growing up.
Yep.
It's a huge part of mainstream culture where we live. And it would never occur to you that that's just, that it's not just not accessible to some people.
It's just not
it's not enjoyable.
Like, it's an anti-enjoyment experience. Yes.
That it's actually like, painful.
Oh. And I did get it. I was like, I'm like, got it. You're an indorser.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's awesome.
And the thing is that we just don't open ourselves to the possibility that somebody else's lived experience is just as valid as ours.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
And the thing is that it is.
It is.
Everybody's is. So we talked a lot about what to call this episode because we wanted to talk about the outdoors and we wanted the title to be indicative, but also to talk about the larger issue, because the larger issue is own your stuff.
Yes.
Allow other people to own theirs. Be honest about your preferences and just don't say, here's the way to do that script. Let's do that script without promising.
Oh,
let's do the script without promising anything and then not following through. Because I'm telling you, that long term of saying let's get together and then never following through is damaging to your reputation, your professional brand. If you run a company,
it's not pretty.
It's not good. It's not a good look.
No, it's not. It's
not happy vibes.
No, it's not.
So it's wonderful to see you, JoyGenea. I haven't seen you in forever. How have you been?
You know what? I'm doing okay. And I love that we run into each other at these types of things. Like, it gives me this chance. Like, we get to sit down, we'll chat for a little bit and just, catch up and stuff.
I'm so excited to see you. I hope everything is great with your dad. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
I know. It was really nice. Are you going to be at the next event in a couple of months?
I might be. I don't know. It's not on my calendar yet, but I'll definitely be here, be at the next one in like 6 months. So maybe we'll get to see you then.
That would be really nice. We can catch up again.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Michelle.
It's just as polite. It's just as warm. It's just as friendly, but we didn't promise each other anything. We didn't say we were going to do anything that we're not going to do.
Well, and here's how simple it is to know if you need to have that conversation or if you really need to get together with somebody. It involves getting out your device.
Right.
And look at your schedule. We should get together sometime. Here, you know what? I'm free in a couple of weeks. Does that work for you? And then that person, if they're nodding their head, but they have not pulled out a device, they're not trying to write something down and they're not like, text me that. I don't have anything on me, but send me that. I think that's going to work. If they're not giving you cues like that, they're not in the same space. Their schedule doesn't allow for that right now. The timing is off. That's what I really wish people would understand and take away.
Life
is timing.
one of the most mind-blowing, and this is one of those things that a lot of people kind of like glossed over and made a joke about, but I actually thought this was a pretty mind-blowing concept when it first came out. When the book He's Just Not That Into You first came out, the concept, okay, we get to not want to be friends with everybody. We get to not want to have a drink with everybody. We get to not want to have lunch with everybody. We get to choose the priorities of who fits in our lives. And when you're running a business, that list changes.
It does.
And it changes from month to month, and it changes as your business changes. And you have to find that list for yourself. But there are people that make that list and there are people that don't. And there's nothing wrong with either of those things. And sometimes you find a way. I started a monthly kind of get small group get together, like you have your book club, like a small group get together for those people that I do want to see, but it's hard to get scheduled. Either because my schedule is really difficult, or a lot of times people with teenagers or kids, and in a bunch of activities,
somewhat consistent at a consistent time that people can put on a schedule like that.
And what that allows for is people who are super busy to skip once in a while, but come once in a while and be able to be there with their whole heart when they're there. I would much rather have somebody there with everything and bring their best self there than somebody who's mildly resentful about what they put on their calendar and just wishes they could be home in bed.
And you can't say that hasn't happened.
Which, by the way,
listening cannot say that does not happen, because it does. So stop putting those things on your schedule.
Just stop.
It's okay.
There's a freedom in saying no.
There is.
I read something. No is a complete sentence.
It is.
It's a complete sentence. Just no. Thanks.
So we hope you don't say no to us and listening to more podcasts. We hope we're on your.
But we give you permission to do so.
We absolutely do.
Yes, and not that you needed our permission, but you do need your own. So, so we are allowed to say, goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks for joining us. We hope you've gained some insight, gotten a little motivation, and we'll be back next time. Thanks so much.
I promise.